Hello YouTube. I posted a video about Sir Clement Freud MP. I didn't provide its full context, but here's the rest of it. The very nice lady that you see in the footage there who says she was abused from a young age by Clement Freud. Read Kate McCann's book about Madeleine McCann, and she learnt from the book that Clement Freud befriended Kate and Jerry McCann at the time Madeleine McCann went missing. Clement Freud had a villa right near where Madeleine McCann went missing, and Kate and Jerry were invited over for lunches, discussions about the case. So you can understand that this lady, when she read that, was very concerned, as she was a victim and survivor of Sir Clement Freud MP, and she's wondering why Sir Clement Freud MP, who's in a villa very close to where a young child goes missing, has decided to befriend the parents of that child. As far as I know, the police have shown no interest in Sir Clement Freud MP. Of course, he's now dead. I read that this lady was very distressed because she contacted Operation Yewtree to raise concerns about Sir Clement Freud, and she was told by a woman police officer that it was a very long time ago and Clement Freud was dead. What was she supposed to do about it now? Of course, they've said to me exactly the same about Kenneth Kendall from the BBC, who abused me when I was about 8 or 9 years of age. He's dead, there's nothing we can do. But of course the truth is that I tried to report everyone who abused me back in 1988, 1990 for 2 years. I talked about it, how it had affected me in my life, and I wanted to report it. I wanted to report all of the people who had abused me in childhood, and I was prevented from doing so. So it seems that the police, as a matter of course, dismiss anybody who comes forward with an allegation about somebody who is now deceased. At the same time as not taking reports while those people are still alive. But there's hypocrisy, isn't there? Because the information about Jimmy Savile didn't come out until he was dead. And what we have learned is that the police were already aware about Jimmy Savile when he was alive and chose to do nothing. To hide it, to cover it up. I'm sure some people here remember there was talk back in 2011 of paedophile rings at the BBC and at Westminster. I think the police have a duty to investigate, even if the person being accused is dead, especially when it comes to people in positions of power and authority, when there might be a possible paedophile ring. They should definitely investigate it. They should be investigating the close associates of Sir Clement Freud MP. They should be investigating the close associates of Kenneth Kendall. Some of those close associates would still be alive. They might still be running a paedophile ring. So why do the police dismiss people? They dismiss people when people report things and the abuser is alive, and then they tell you when they die they won't look into it because they're dead. But that didn't stop them going on about Jimmy Savile when he was dead, now did it? By failing to investigate allegations made by people about people who are now dead, they rule out any investigation into their wider circle. So, Bill Maloney, Brian Gerrish, John Wedger, Belinda McKenzie, this group who have been exposing VIP paedophile rings, the kidnapping of children, the trafficking of children, the abuse of children. Turns out their extended circle of friends kidnaps children, is going to traffic these children abroad. And what's more, when they were caught kidnapping a child, Sir Edward Lee MP, a Knight of the Realm, wrote a character reference for the ringleader. In regards to paedophile rings at the BBC and a paedophile ring at Westminster, the police say they found no evidence of such. But then again, if they don't investigate and look into all reports and all leads, they're negligent. They are corrupt. Of course, what I can tell you in my case is that the police have never taken a statement from me. I've accused people of abusing me in childhood and the police have never taken a statement from me. And if they've dismissed me and not taken statements from me about who abused me and when, then I ask myself, I wonder if they've done that to other people who might also be accusing Kenneth Kendall from the BBC. And therefore, in their paperwork and in their investigations, this name doesn't even come up. It's exactly the same with the person who picked me up in the West End when I was 14 and took me to Royal Crescent in Kensington and Chelsea. Somebody who claimed they work in the music industry took me to a flat with evidence that it was connected to the music industry. Just remember that when Savile was alive, people made allegations against him, and the police took no action on that evidence. So those people spent their lives being treated as fantasists and liars by the police. Those people were made to feel like fantasists and liars by the police, which really just adds to the trauma of being abused in childhood. They really ought to know better, and they do. So when you know that, you have to ask yourself why they dismiss people. When one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life is try to report the people who abused me in childhood. There are many, many others out there who've experienced the same thing over decades and decades and decades. Humiliated by police, threatened by police, so that actually they don't want to talk about it anymore. They don't try and pursue it. They don't keep reporting it. They don't ask questions. So when I see the police and the media making a big hoo-ha over the likes of Carl Beach and Andrew Ash, I wonder why they make such a big thing out of it. It's to tell the wider public that they've spent millions of pounds on investigations from liars and fantasists, and anyone abused in childhood who isn't believed is now scared to speak, and I can't say I blame them. One thing I feel fairly certain about, and that is that if Sir Clement Freud MP wasn't Sir Clement Freud MP, was just a member of the general public, or was Sidney Cook, police would have followed that line of inquiry and quite probably made an arrest. But to my knowledge, the police didn't follow that line of inquiry. They'd rather follow lines of inquiries that the public in the UK don't really believe. People like to say hiding in plain sight. There's been an operation into covering up VIP paedophile rings for the rich and the famous since the news about Savile broke. It's a 10-year operation nearly. I would suggest that the reason you have people like John Wedger and Bill Maloney and Brian Gerrish scouring the country, encouraging those abused in childhood to come forward, is because they want people to come forward who do not trust the police, who've had experiences in their past about being threatened or trying to report the abuse they suffered in childhood and the police dismissing them, so they don't want to go back to the police. And those people are the people who are more likely to have been abused by somebody well known. From their previous experience, they're frightened about talking about it. But they're also the most vulnerable people, easily manipulated, encouraged to take the law into their own hands so a child doesn't have to suffer what they've suffered for their whole lives. So what you really have here is a cover-up, hiding in plain sight. Thanks very much.